They said love has rules: age, timing, expectations. But Hollywood has always loved breaking the rules. From icons like Dick Van Dyke finding joy decades later to Leonardo DiCaprio's headline-grabbing romances, these couples proved that passion defies numbers on a birth certificate. Their stories are bold, surprising, and unforgettable. Ready to discover Hollywood love stories that prove age really is just a number? Dick Van Dyke and Arlene Silver. Hollywood has given us many love stories, but few are as surprising and heartwarming as Dick Van Dyke and Arlene Silver. Dick, the legendary star of Mary Poppins and The Dick Van Dyke Show, had already lived a life most could only dream of. By the time he met Arlene, he was in his 80s, a widower who carried decades of memories, fame, and the weight of losing his longtime partner. Arlene, a vibrant makeup artist with a love for life, was nearly half a century younger. Yet, when they met at a Screen Actors Guild Awards dinner in 2006, something clicked instantly. What began as a friendship quickly grew into something deeper, proof that connection has no expiration date. In 2012, at a quiet ceremony in Malibu, Dick, then 86, married Arlene, who was just 40. The 46-year age gap made headlines, but the couple's genuine affection silenced skeptics. Videos of them dancing, laughing, and living joyfully together went viral, reminding the world that love is measured not in years, but in shared spirit. Arlene has often said she doesn't see herself as Dick's caretaker, but as his partner. And Dick credits her with bringing a renewed energy into his life, saying she gave him a reason to keep dancing. Their story is a reminder that it's never too late to find love again, and that sometimes the most unexpected matches shine the brightest. Heidi Klum and Tom Kaulitz. Few Hollywood love stories have been as unexpected and as fiercely celebrated as the romance between Heidi Klum and Tom Kaulitz. Heidi, the German supermodel who became a global icon through Victoria's Secret Project Runway and countless magazine covers, had already lived several lives in the public eye. She was a mother of 4, a businesswoman, and someone who'd weathered her share of heartbreak. So when she met Tom, the guitarist of the German rock band Tokyo Hotel in 2018, the world was stunned, not just by their instant chemistry, but by their 17-year age difference. From the very beginning, Heidi described their connection as something undeniable, almost magnetic. Tom brought youthful energy, playfulness, and a creative soul that balanced Heidi's strength and sophistication. They didn't waste time. Within a year, he proposed, and by 2019 they were married, first in a private ceremony, then with a dreamy celebration aboard a yacht in Capri. Public reaction was divided at first, with critics questioning whether such a gap could last. But Heidi and Tom silenced every doubt with their joy. Whether walking red carpets hand in hand, sharing goofy videos on social media, or blending their families seamlessly, they radiate authenticity. Tom embraced his role as stepfather with love, while Heidi calls him her soulmate, often saying he makes her feel like she's living in a fairy tale. Jerry Seinfeld and Jessica Seinfeld. When Jerry Seinfeld ended his legendary sitcom in 1998, many wondered what could possibly top the cultural phenomenon he had created. The answer wasn't another TV series or stand-up special. It was a love story. That same year, Jerry met Jessica Sclair, a bright, thoughtful New Yorker whose life was worlds apart from Hollywood glitz. Their meeting at a gym sparked instant chemistry, but it came with controversy. Jessica had just returned from her honeymoon with another man. The tabloids pounced, but love, as always, had the last word. By December 19, 1999, Jerry and Jessica were married, and what began under scrutiny evolved into one of Hollywood's most stable, admired partnerships. Jerry, then in his 40s and at the peak of fame, found in Jessica a grounding force, someone who valued privacy, family, and purpose over spotlight. Jessica built her own identity, not as a celebrity spouse, but as a philanthropist and author. She founded Baby Buggy, now Good Plus Foundation, a non-profit that has provided millions in resources for families in need, proving she was as committed to impact as Jerry was to comedy. Together, they raised 3 children, deliberately shielding them from the frenzy of fame. While Jerry continued touring, producing, and creating Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, he often credited Jessica with keeping his world balanced. Their bond wasn't about celebrity, it was about respect, humor, and a shared vision for family life. Leonardo DiCaprio and Vittoria Ceretti. For decades, Leonardo DiCaprio has been Hollywood's eternal bachelor, a global superstar whose romances often made more headlines than his movies. But in 2023, the world was stunned when Leo, at 48, was spotted hand-in-hand with Italian supermodel Vittoria Ceretti, just 25. The whispers came fast. Was this just another fleeting fling, or had DiCaprio, Oscar winner, environmental activist, and one of the most recognizable actors alive, finally met someone who could match his intensity? Vittoria wasn't just another name in the modeling world. With her statuesque beauty, fierce runway presence, and work for the likes of Chanel, Versace, and Dolce & Gabbana, she had already cemented herself as one of fashion's top icons of the 2010s. But those close to her say it was her quiet strength, independence, and grounded personality that drew Leo in. Unlike many of his past relationships, Vittoria isn't dazzled by celebrity. She has her own empire, her own identity. Together, they share passions for art, culture, and travel, often choosing low-key escapes over the red carpets Leo has long tried to avoid. Friends say their connection feels different, deeper, more balanced. For once, it isn't about headlines. It's about maturity, respect, and 2 people who understand the weight of fame but prefer the simplicity of love. Elton John and David Furnish. Few love stories in Hollywood and beyond shine as brightly as that of Elton John and David Furnish. Elton, one of the most legendary musicians in history, spent decades battling loneliness, addiction, and the pressures of fame. For years, the Rocket Man searched for stability. Then, in 1993, at a dinner party in London, he met Canadian filmmaker David Furnish. The spark was instant. Elton, flamboyant and larger than life, found balance in David's calm, thoughtful presence. Their relationship grew into one of the most inspiring love stories of our time. In 2005, they entered into a civil union, and when same-sex marriage became legal in the UK, they were among the very first to marry in 2014. It wasn't just a wedding. It was a powerful statement to the world that love, no matter who shares it, deserves recognition and respect. Together, they built a family, raising 2 sons, Zachary and Elijah, through surrogacy. Fatherhood softened Elton in ways fame never could, while David became the steady hand guiding their home life. Beyond family, they've worked side by side on humanitarian efforts, with David now serving as chairman of the Elton John AIDS Foundation, raising millions to fight HIV/AIDS worldwide. David Cross and Amber Tamblyn. Sometimes love shows up in the most unexpected ways, and that's exactly what happened when comedian David Cross met actress Amber Tamblyn. David, known for his sharp wit in Arrested Development and Mr. Show, had already built a reputation as a fearless voice in comedy. Amber, nearly 2 decades younger, had grown up in front of the camera, starring in Joan of Arcadia, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and later earning recognition as a poet, writer, and activist. The 2 met in 2007 through friends and instantly connected. At first, the 19-year age gap raised eyebrows, but to them, it was irrelevant. What mattered was their shared love of creativity, laughter, and a deep respect for each other's individuality. By 2011, David proposed, and in 2012 they married in a beautiful, non-traditional woodland ceremony, complete with music, poetry, and a sense of authenticity that reflected exactly who they are. Together, they've built a life that blends art and activism. Amber has been an outspoken feminist and advocate, while David has stood firmly by her side, offering unwavering support. In 2017, they welcomed their daughter, Marlo Alice, a new chapter that made their bond even stronger. Kevin Kline and Phoebe Cates. When Hollywood power meets quiet devotion, you get a love story like Kevin Kline and Phoebe Cates. Kevin, one of the most respected actors of his generation, built a career on versatility, winning an Oscar for A Fish Called Wanda and acclaim for roles in Sophie's Choice and The Big Chill. Phoebe, meanwhile, lit up the screen in the 1980s with unforgettable turns in Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Gremlins, becoming a cultural icon almost overnight. They met in the early 80s when Phoebe auditioned for The Big Chill. Though she didn't land the part, fate clearly had bigger plans. By 1989, they were married, despite a 16-year age gap that many thought would create challenges. Instead, it became irrelevant. Their bond was built on humor, respect, and a love that has only deepened over the decades. While Kevin continued to shine on stage and screen, Phoebe made the bold decision to step away from Hollywood at the height of her fame. She chose family, raising their children, and later opening a boutique in New York City. Kevin has often credited her sacrifice as the true foundation of their enduring marriage. More than 30 years later, their love remains one of Hollywood's quiet triumphs. No scandals, no drama, just two people proving that real connection outlasts fame every time. Do you think their decision to live out of the spotlight is the secret to their lasting love? Bradley Cooper and Gigi Hadid. When Bradley Cooper and Gigi Hadid were first spotted together, the world did a double take. He's the Oscar-nominated actor and director who redefined modern romance with A Star is Born, a man admired for his intensity and artistic vision. She's one of the most recognizable supermodels of her generation, gracing the runways of Versace, Chanel, and Victoria's Secret with effortless poise. On paper, they came from two different worlds, but in reality, their bond felt natural. Two icons who understood the pressures of fame and the importance of privacy. With nearly 20 years between them, critics questioned whether the relationship could last. But Bradley and Gigi silenced the noise by focusing on what mattered most: family. Both are parents, Bradley to his daughter Leah with Irina Shayk, and Gigi to her daughter Kai with singer Zayn Malik. Their shared devotion to raising children in grounded, loving environments became the glue that pulled them closer. Unlike many Hollywood pairings, they've chosen to live quietly, away from the frenzy of cameras. No flashy declarations, no constant red carpet appearances, just two people who prefer cozy dinners, family outings, and simple moments. Friends say it's that authenticity that makes their connection so strong. It's a love story that feels modern yet timeless. A reminder that when two people share values, respect, and real affection, age and headlines don't stand a chance. David Foster and Katharine McPhee. When music legend David Foster married singer and actress Katharine McPhee, the headlines were instant. He's the producer behind some of the greatest voices of all time: Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, Michael Bublé, his career spanning decades with 16 Grammys to prove it. She's a powerhouse vocalist who first stole America's heart on American Idol, later shining on Broadway and in television. On the surface, their worlds seemed separated by generations. But when their paths aligned, a romance unfolded that no one saw coming. With a 35-year age gap, skeptics doubted their love could withstand the spotlight. But Foster and McPhee proved them wrong. What began as a mentor-student bond blossomed into a partnership built on music, respect, and undeniable chemistry. Their 2019 London wedding was elegant, intimate, and unapologetically theirs, a declaration that love doesn't answer to critics. In 2021, they welcomed their son, Rennie, and for David, already a father of 5 daughters, it was a second chance at fatherhood. He calls it unexpected joy. Katharine calls it the greatest role of her life. Together, they've embraced parenthood with warmth and humor, balancing lullabies with Grammy-winning melodies. Their story reminds us that love is not measured in years, but in harmony. 2 voices, 2 lives, 1 song that keeps playing. Hilarie, Burton, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Some love stories feel scripted for the screen, but Hilarie, Burton, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan's began with a blind date set up by friends and turned into a romance no Hollywood writer could have imagined. She was the beloved One Tree Hill star, known for her raw vulnerability as Peyton Sawyer. He was the rugged heartthrob of Supernatural and The Walking Dead, a man whose charisma could steal any scene. On paper, their 17-year age gap drew whispers, but in reality, it only deepened their connection. They skipped the Hollywood red carpets and chose something far more real, a quiet farm in upstate New York. There, among animals, dirt roads, and endless fields, they built a life rooted in simplicity and authenticity. Their love grew stronger with each passing year, blessed by the births of their children, Augustus in 2010 and George in 2018. Parenthood didn't just soften their edges, it revealed the heart of who they truly are. For over a decade, they defied the odds. After 10 years together, they finally tied the knot in 2019 in a small, intimate ceremony surrounded by close friends. Hilarie once said Jeffrey wasn't just her husband, he was her anchor, her partner, and her safe place. And Jeffrey often calls her his miracle, the woman who brought balance to his wild world. Alec Baldwin and Hilaria Baldwin. When Alec Baldwin walked into a New York City restaurant in 2011 and spotted Hilaria Thomas, a yoga instructor with a calm presence and radiant energy, he didn't hesitate. He simply said, "I must know you." That bold line sparked a love story that has since defied every expectation. He was already a Hollywood veteran, known for 30 Rock, Beetlejuice, and decades of acclaimed performances. She was 26, passionate about health, wellness, and living authentically. Despite a 26-year age difference, their connection was undeniable. A year later, they were married at St. Patrick's Old Cathedral in Manhattan, blending Baldwin's world of red carpets with Hilaria's grounded, holistic lifestyle. Their union quickly grew into a large and lively family. Together, they welcomed 7 children, a rarity in Hollywood, turning their home into a whirlwind of laughter, chaos, and love. Alec, once known for his sharp wit and fiery temperament, often says fatherhood later in life gave him a new sense of purpose, while Hilaria has been open about the joy and challenge of raising a family under constant public scrutiny. Through controversies, tabloid storms, and the ups and downs of fame, they've stood together. On social media, they share glimpses of real family life, messy, loud, but deeply full of love. Their bond is proof that resilience, forgiveness, and humor can carry a marriage through even the toughest seasons. Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble. When Kris Jenner met Corey Gamble in 2014 at a birthday party in Ibiza, no one thought it would turn into one of Hollywood's most talked-about romances. She was already the powerful matriarch of the Kardashian-Jenner empire, a woman who had turned her family name into a billion-dollar brand. He was a music industry executive, younger by 25 years, calm, steady, and far removed from the blinding spotlight Kris had lived in for decades. Yet, when their paths crossed, sparks flew. Their relationship faced endless speculation. Was it real love or just another Hollywood fling? But as the years passed, Kris and Corey proved their critics wrong. Corey became a trusted presence not only in Kris's life, but also within her family, often seen at events, vacations, and even on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Unlike many high-profile relationships, theirs has always been marked by stability. Kris often calls Corey her rock, the one who brings calm to her whirlwind lifestyle. For Corey, it's about loyalty and devotion. He once said he didn't care about the cameras, only about being by her side. Together, they've built a partnership grounded in trust, laughter, and mutual respect. While Kris commands the boardroom and red carpet, Corey brings balance, reminding her that even in the chaos of fame, love can be simple. Ice-T and Coco Austin. When rapper-turned-actor Ice-T met Coco Austin in 2001 during a music video shoot, the connection was instant. He was already a legend in hip-hop and a star on Law & Order, Svoo, known for his hard edge and no-nonsense persona. She was a rising model with a bold personality and a spark that could light up any room. Their worlds couldn't have been more different, yet together they found something rare: balance. Many doubted their love from the start. The age difference, the flashy lifestyle, the constant media attention. It all seemed like too much. But Ice-T and Coco defied the odds. Their marriage, filled with laughter, loyalty, and undeniable chemistry, has lasted for over 2 decades, proving critics wrong at every turn. When they welcomed their daughter Chanel in 2015, fans got to see a softer, more tender side of Ice-T. Suddenly, the tough rapper was a doting father, and Coco was the heart of their little family. What sets them apart is how unapologetically real they are. From their reality show Ice Loves Coco to candid social media moments, they've never hidden the ups and downs of their life. Instead, they turned their love story into a celebration of trust, playfulness, and resilience. Ice-T often says Coco brought joy and stability into his life, while Coco calls Ice-T her protector, her partner, and her best friend. Chris Evans and Alba Baptista. Chris Evans, the man the world knows as Captain America, has always carried himself with humility despite his superhero fame. For years, fans wondered who could capture the heart of Hollywood's most eligible bachelor. The answer came quietly and unexpectedly with Portuguese actress Alba Baptista. Their romance, confirmed in 2022, surprised many, not only because of their 16-year age difference, but also because of how genuine and grounded their love appeared. Alba, known for her breakout role in Netflix's Warrior Nun, is fluent in 5 languages and admired for both her talent and humanitarian work. She isn't dazzled by Hollywood fame. Instead, she's grounded, thoughtful, and elegant, qualities that perfectly balance Kris's humor and down-to-earth personality. Together, they embody the kind of love story that feels both private and powerful. While paparazzi searched for headlines, Kris and Alba chose quiet walks, family dinners, and moments far from the spotlight. Their September 20th, 23 wedding in Massachusetts was intimate and heartfelt, attended by close friends and family rather than flashing cameras. For Kris, it was a long-awaited chapter of settling down, one he had spoken about often but never rushed. For Alba, it was stepping into love on her own terms, with grace and independence. Their bond is a reminder that true connection isn't about Hollywood lights or fame, but about finding someone who makes you feel at home. Jeff Goldblum and Emily Livingston. Jeff Goldblum has always been one of Hollywood's most delightfully eccentric stars. From Jurassic Park to The Fly, he's known for his charm, quick wit, and quirky elegance. But behind the red carpets and jazz performances, Jeff found his true rhythm with someone 30 years his junior, Olympic gymnast and aerial artist Emily Livingston. They met in 2011, and despite the age gap, what stood out wasn't difference, it was harmony. Emily, a former Olympian for Canada and Cirque du Soleil performer, brought grace, discipline, and warmth into Jeff's world. Their relationship blossomed naturally, grounded in creativity, mutual admiration, and a shared sense of curiosity. They married in 2014 and not long after welcomed two sons, Charlie Ocean in 2015 and River Joe in 2017. Jeff, who became a father later in life, often describes parenthood as the most delicious transformation of his life. Emily's nurturing nature and artistry have turned their home into a place filled with laughter, music, and movement. The couple is refreshingly open about their love, posting playful videos, attending red carpets hand in hand, and embracing their unique dynamic with humor and honesty. Jeff often says Emily keeps him young in spirit, while Emily calls Jeff her soulmate, best friend, and favorite duet partner. Their story proves that when two people meet in the right moment, with open hearts and mutual respect, age truly becomes just a number. Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Ewan McGregor has long been one of Hollywood's most versatile stars. Whether it's Trainspotting, Moulin Rouge, or Star Wars, his charisma and intensity made him unforgettable. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, meanwhile, carved her own path as a rising talent in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and Birds of Prey, admired for her layered performances that blended vulnerability with strength. When their paths crossed in 2016 on the set of Fargo Season 3, sparks flew instantly. Their on-screen chemistry was magnetic, but off-screen it blossomed into something deeper, something that would change both their lives. Their relationship was not without headlines. At the time, both were moving on from past chapters, and their romance quickly drew attention. Yet, instead of letting the noise define them, they leaned on one another, building a bond grounded in trust, creativity, and resilience. By 2021, they welcomed a son, Laurie, bringing an entirely new dimension to their love story. In April 2022, they sealed their commitment with an intimate wedding surrounded by close friends and family. No Hollywood spectacle, just pure joy. Today, Ewan and Mary Elizabeth balance red carpets with quiet family life, choosing intimacy over spotlight. Their love story reminds us that second chances can bloom into something even stronger than first ones, proving that sometimes the best love comes later, when you least expect it. Miranda Kerr and Evan Spiegel. Miranda Kerr was already a global sensation, one of the most recognizable faces in the modeling world, gracing Victoria's secret runways and high-fashion campaigns with her signature elegance and charm. Evan Spiegel, on the other hand, was the brilliant but reserved co-founder of Snapchat, a billionaire tech visionary who lived far from the glitz of Hollywood. At first glance, they seemed like two people from completely different worlds. Yet when fate brought them together at a dinner party in 2014, sparks flew instantly. Their romance surprised many. Miranda, the glamorous supermodel with a high-profile past, and Evan, the quiet entrepreneur who valued privacy above all. But instead of being a mismatch, they became each other's balance. Miranda admired Evan's grounded intelligence and calm energy, while Evan adored her warmth, beauty, and devotion as a mother. In 2017, they tied the knot in an intimate ceremony filled with love and simplicity, far from the excess of Hollywood spectacle. Today, they share 3 children together and a life built on family values, health, and harmony. Miranda has often said that Evan feels like her home, while Evan praises her for bringing light and grounding into his busy life. Their story isn't just about glamour or wealth, it's about finding peace, love, and stability in a chaotic world. What do you think? Can love between two very different worlds create the strongest bond of all? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Jason Statham and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. Jason Statham, the tough guy of Hollywood, built his reputation in adrenaline-packed films like The Transporter, The Expendables, and Fast and Furious. With his rugged charm, razor-sharp wit, and stunt-heavy performances, he became the very definition of an action star. Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, on the other hand, dazzled the world as a Victoria's Secret angel and a high-fashion model before stepping into acting with Transformers: Dark of the Moon. She was elegance personified, graceful, poised, and magnetic on and off the runway. When Jason and Rosie began dating in 2010, their 20-year age difference sparked curiosity. But what the world quickly saw was not controversy, it was chemistry. Their romance grew steadily, built on mutual respect and shared values rather than Hollywood spectacle. By 2016, Jason proposed, and the following year they welcomed their first son, Jack Oscar. Their second child followed in 2022, solidifying their roles not just as partners, but as devoted parents. Unlike many celebrity couples, Jason and Rosie keep their private life sacred. Instead of flaunting it in tabloids, they focus on raising their children, building businesses, and supporting one another's careers. Rosie often praises Jason's protective, steady nature, while he credits her with bringing calm and balance to his fast-paced life. Together, they embody a rare Hollywood love, grounded, enduring, and quietly powerful. Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet. Jason Momoa grew up idolizing Lisa Bonet long before he ever met her. To him, she was a goddess from The Cosby Show, a woman who embodied strength, mystery, and beauty. When fate finally brought them together in the mid-2000s, Jason admitted it was like a dream come true. Despite their 12-year age gap, their connection was instant, magnetic, and undeniable. The two married in 2017, but by then they had already built a family together, raising their children in an environment rooted in creativity, culture, and respect. Jason often praised Lisa as his muse, the anchor to his stormy energy, while she admired his free spirit and protective nature. Their love became a Hollywood symbol of authenticity, defying stereotypes and proving that soulmates can find each other in unexpected ways. Even after they announced their separation in 2022, the admiration and respect between them never faded. They continue to co-parent with love, showing the world that sometimes true partnership is about evolution, not endings.